A man doesn't need to shout to shake a room. Sometimes, it's the quiet ones who carry the heaviest thunder. So before we begin, if stories that honor real strength and real hearts mean something to you, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and stay with us till the end. Because the moment the call sign, Titan 1, echoed across that airport, everything changed. His name was Daniel Cole, though most people just called him Dan. A single dad, jeans worn at the knees, flannel shirt faded, and the kind of tired eyes that only come from loving a child so hard that you forget what your own rest looks like. He was seated quietly in seat 12F on Flight 378, staring out the window, watching clouds roll in the distance. Next to him sat his little girl, Emma, 6 years old, her tiny feet swinging above the floor as she colored lopsided stars across a notebook. Every now and then she'd glance up at her father and smile. And Dan would smile back, soft, gentle, but heavy. That smile held stories, war, loss, love, and a kind of peace that is only found after you've seen too much grief. He was flying back from a job interview, construction foreman. Nothing glamorous, just honest work. He hoped it would finally let him stop juggling night shifts, stop missing school recitals, and finally give Emma the little backyard she kept drawing pictures of. But the airline didn't know who he was. The passengers didn't know. The world had moved on. They did not know they were sitting beside a name whispered years ago in fighter wings and command rooms. Captain Daniel, Titan 1, Cole. F-22 Raptor Squadron leader. Silver Star recipient. A legend, but only to those who were there. And legends don't brag. They fade. Quietly. The plane touched down at a major Air Force hub airport, and passengers stood to disembark. Dan lifted his backpack, helping Emma put her coat on. Then, voices began echoing from outside the terminal windows. Sharp, synchronized, commanding voices. Eagle Squadron, on standby. You could feel the shift in air pressure, discipline was approaching. A group of young Air Force pilots, fresh uniforms and bright futures, marched toward Gate 7 where the flight had landed. The leader, a tall captain named Reynolds, held a folded piece of paper. He looked shaken. Passengers turned to watch. Whispers fluttered. What's happening? Is someone important on this plane? Reynolds cleared his throat, voice steady but eyes emotional. We were told a decorated operational legend was on this flight, and that if we ever crossed paths with him, we were to stand and honor him. People exchanged looks. A celebrity, a general, a senator. No one expected what came next. Reynolds lifted the paper, hands slightly trembling. We are searching for a pilot once known among the Raptor wings as Titan 1. Every head turned, but Dan did not move. He just closed his eyes. He wished they hadn't. Emma tugged his sleeve. Daddy, is that you? He knelt to her, whispering, it was, a long time ago, baby. Someone seated behind them gasped. You're Titan 1. The plane went silent. Then, Reynolds saw him. Recognition hit like lightning. His eyes widened. His posture straightened. His breath caught. Sir, Captain Cole. Dan nodded once. Reynolds took one step forward. And so did the entire squadron. They saluted. Passengers froze, unsure whether to stay quiet, or to cry. Emma looked confused and proud and overwhelmed all at once. Dan stood slowly, holding her hand. I'm not active anymore, he said softly. Reynolds almost laughed through tears. Sir, you saved my instructor. You saved half the men who trained everyone here. You're the reason some of us grew up wanting to fly. Dan blinked. Memories flickered. Dogfights. Night. Skies lit like lightning. Voices lost on radio static. A brother who didn't make it home. He nodded once, not to be honored, but to acknowledge the ghosts. The young pilots parted, forming a corridor, and Reynolds spoke. Titan 1, the sky remembers you. And so do we. Let us escort you and your daughter home. As they walked, passengers rose from their seats. Not clapping, not cheering, just standing, quiet, respectful, full. Because sometimes silence is the loudest honor there is. Outside, the tarmac glowed with sunset. 4 F-22 Raptors, gleaming, proud, stood lined in formation waiting. Not for battle, not for duty, for him. Emma squeezed his hand. Daddy, were you really a hero? Dan knelt, voice breaking, but soft. I just tried to bring my friends home. That's all heroes ever do. She threw her arms around his neck. Reynolds stepped beside him. Sir, If you ever want to fly again, the seat's open. You earned the sky. Dan looked at the aircraft. At the past. At his daughter. No, he said with warmth, not regret. The sky has new guardians now. My mission's here. Reynolds nodded, respect deep and real. Then he turned and commanded. Squadron. Honor departure. The Raptors roared to life in perfect synchronized formation. Clouds echoed thunder while the crowd held their breath. Emma looked up, wonder in her eyes. And for the first time in years, Dan smiled without weight. His past wasn't something he carried anymore. It carried him. If this story touched you, moved you, or reminded you of the quiet heroes walking around us every single day, don't let their stories fade again. Like this video, subscribe, and share it. Let the world remember Titan ones. The fathers, the mothers, the protectors, the ones who fight not for glory, but for love.